Whatever project you do, it's always easier if you have the right tools for the job. And the same goes for design. Now, no one would expect you to have all the tools that a designer might ever need, but I like to keep what I call my design box. So whenever I go to make or design something, I know that I've always got some essential tools to hand. So let's see what's inside it. Now, I always like to keep 2 sets of scissors, one big and one small. Now, I've got the larger scissors for any time I'm cutting through card or paper and I want to make some nice straight lines. Just works really easily. You can also use the larger scissors for fabric. And I've also got some smaller scissors which are really great if you're cutting around smaller shapes and you just want to make it a bit more intricate and detailed. These are great for cutting around corners, but they're also good for cutting threads. So, also in my toolbox, I've got some measuring tools. I've got 3 sets here, a large tape measure, and this is great for when you're measuring really big spaces. I've also got a smaller ruler, which is really useful for if you're measuring around card or paper. And then I've got a measuring tape, which is brilliant because it's flexible, so it's really useful for around fabrics. Put these back in. Next, I've got 2 sets of glue. First, a glue stick, and this is really useful for sticking bits of card and paper together. But then I've also got a craft glue. This is great for sticking things onto your material, and you can get this from any craft store. Next up, another really important thing for me is a sewing kit. Now in here, I've got loads of different coloured threads, which are really useful, and also different sized needles, so when you have different thicknesses of fabric you can choose which needle to use. And then I've also got some safety pins, which are really great if you want to hold something in place before you sew it. Another must in a design box is some pens and pencils. I've got some marker pens here, which are really great for marking onto fabric, but also pencil, really simple and really great for sketches. And don't forget a rubber as well, just in case you make a few wrong marks. And lastly, one thing that I really like to do is to collect pictures for inspiration. So whenever I'm just sat down reading a magazine, I'll be looking at pictures of colours and textures, anything that really catches my eye. And if I really like it, I'll just rip out the picture and put it in my design box for later. Now, you can get everything in here quite cheaply, but you don't need to get it all in one go. The thing about a design box is that it grows over time, and the box doesn't have to be expensive. Why not recycle something like an old shoe box? You can personalise it in any way that you like. What about using coloured card? You could stick that all the way around your box, or you could even use fabric, different types of fabric, stick that all the way around. You can even customise it with ribbons, or get some felt tip pens and crayons and draw your own special design. At the end of the day, it's your design box and you want to decorate it with whatever you think looks good.
A lot of people think to be good at art and design, you need to be good at drawing and painting, but this isn't always the case. Collage is a great example of a different way of making art. The name comes from the French coller, which means to paste, and that's it. To make your design, you simply stick and paste objects and images to create a brand new picture.
That's exactly what Lydia and I did to create a new picture for her bedroom wall.
So what I've done is get a piece of board, some exciting glue, and I've printed loads and loads of pictures. And what we're going to do is, when we've got a lot of these together, we're going to cut round them and we're going to layer loads and loads and loads so that we get this mad picture of everything that we want.
It doesn't have to be board. You can use a piece of card instead. But you will need paper glue. Remember, you can use anything to create your collage. Pictures from magazines, old family photos, or like I've done here, print images from a computer. First decide the layout you want, and then stick your pictures down. There is no right or wrong way to do this because it's your picture and you're in charge. But to get some tips, you could look at the work of some famous collage artists such as Kurt Schwitters, a German artist who was a member of the Dada School of Art. Henri Matisse, a French artist who is a leading member of the Modernist and Impressionist schools of art. And Julian Trevelyan, a British artist who followed the Surrealist school of art. Once you have your images stuck down, don't be afraid to add to your picture.
So this is looking great. I think we're about ready to make it a little bit extra special, so should we add something to it? I have made you some stencils. What I've done is got a piece of card and I've drawn with a ruler some letters to make these words, and then I've got a craft knife and cut them down, so if you get your mum and dad to help you, and we're going to get a brush and this lovely bright red paint, and we're going to paint really, really, really carefully in the gaps, and then when we peel it off, it should say lights, camera, and action.
As well as stenciling, some artists add buttons and even leaves and stones to their collages.
Well done. Phew. Good work. What do you think?
I love it. It's really nice.
And it looked even better, hanging on the wall in Lydia's bedroom.
The thing I love about design is that it's great fun, and something that's actually quite simple to make can look amazing. For example, mask making. It's thousands of years old, but it's still really popular today. Just think of Halloween. Now, masks have always been really popular in theatre, from the time of ancient Greece through to Japanese No, right up until the modern day. Now, some of the simplest of these have been used to convey different emotions, such as comedy and tragedy, or happy and sad. So if you want to make your own mask, all you need is some coloured card, but you could also use plain card and colour it in with your felt tip crayons or pens, a paper plate for stiffness on your mask, some glue for sticking, scissors to cut out the eyes, some string or elastic to fix the mask around your head, and then loads of different accessories to decorate your mask with. And just make sure they're not too heavy, otherwise they'll fall off. I thought making masks would be a great fun project for Catherine and Susie, who both love the theatre. Now, basically, I've done these as examples, so if you're doing a kind of lion-based performance, you could make something like this, or I've done an elephant as another example. And they're really, really simple to make. So do you fancy having a go?
Yeah.
Cool. OK, so, Catherine, what kind of thing do you fancy making?
Maybe like a theatrical mask.
Brilliant idea, and perhaps you could do some type of veil on it as well, because we've got loads of different colours of material here. Suzanne, what do you fancy doing?
Alien.
So, first of all, choose your card, and then we can draw out some shapes. And in the centre of your mask, you're going to have 2 holes for the eyes, so just make sure the shape is nice and large. Now you're going to, in the centre, do the 2 eye holes. So you're kind of going to have to judge where you think you're going to be seeing through, obviously kind of around the centre of the mask. So do 2. If you have a look at this one and this one, you can kind of see the shapes that I've done for the eyes. But get creative with it. I mean, your alien might want different. It might want, you know, crazy shaped eyes, so just have a go, see what you can come up with. We've got your basic shapes now. What you're going to do next is cut out your template, OK? So you need to grab some scissors and cut around them. And try not to cut too much into the template. You want to make sure that it's still nice and big. Third thing is we need to reinforce the mask. So if you see on this one, all I've got is a paper plate and stuck it to the back of the cardboard. And it just means that when you actually hang it on your face, it stands up, it's nice and sturdy. You're going to get your mask and you're going to put it on top of the paper plate and just flatten it down. And then all I'm going to do is grab a pen and draw around the inside of the eyes like this, because when you take this away, you're going to need to cut out these circles so that you can properly see. Once you've cut out the eyes, stick your paper plate to your mask using a glue stick. Are you happy with that, Susie? Is it all stuck down?
Yep.
Do you want to try it out, see what it looks like? Right, let's go on to the next stage, which is the fun part, decorating. It doesn't matter how you decorate your mask, because it's all down to your personal taste and what you think looks good. Oh my gosh, I love those antennae, they're brilliant! So, the very last stage of the whole process is sticking on the elastic so you can properly wear it. So I've got just some normal elastic, and what's a good thing to do is kind of measure it around your head. Now I've got quite big hair, so mine will probably be a lot bigger than yours, so I'll do it around your head. So from like your eye to your other eye. Okay. It's probably about that length, and what I normally do is just add a bit extra because you're going to tie a knot on each end. So if you cut there for me, there it is. Brilliant. If you're with a friend, ask them to help you measure your elastic. Then poke 2 holes in your mask with a pen and thread the elastic through. That's it. And finally, tie a knot at each end. Well, the only thing left is to try the masks on. Let's see what they look like. They are brilliant. And when you're not wearing them, they look great as wall art too, hung up.
Whenever you start a design project, it's useful to draw out a plan of what you want to achieve. That way you can see what you'll need and also alert you to any problems that might come up during the design process.
I was recently asked to redesign a bedroom. And this is the 3-dimensional plan of what I wanted to achieve. I've decided to have 2 wardrobes either side of the window and a bed at the opposite wall. The good thing about a 3D plan is that it not only gives you a sense of the height and the width of the room, which are 2 dimensions, but also the depth of the room, which is the 3rd dimension.
I created this view on the computer, but you can draw this type of 3D plan. All you need is a pencil or pen, a ruler and some paper. The 3D room is based on perspective, and perspective is based on a vanishing point and a horizon, which is a straight line across the middle of the page. Then you draw a line straight down to the middle, and that middle point there is what we call the vanishing point.
If I draw 2 diagonal lines, equally spaced apart, that meet at the vanishing point, it gives it the sense of going into the distance.
This vanishing point and these perspective lines will be the basis of our 3D room. So keeping the vanishing point in the centre at all times. Drawing these sides up to make a square, which is the front of my room. So these are the walls and the floor and the ceiling. Now to make the back wall, I need to do a smaller square, keeping the vanishing point in the centre.
The perspective lines are there as your guide, so always draw to them. The first thing I'm going to put in is the door, which is on the right at the front of the room. The door frame appears straight, as it is the same distance at the top from the wall as it is at the base.
Now, in order to make it in perspective, I'm going to draw the top of the door towards the vanishing point. And then draw it straight down, parallel with the other line. This is what gives it the 3D look.
Next, I'm going to add the wardrobes to my plan.
Now to draw the wardrobes, I want them to come out a little bit from the wall because they've got a bit of depth. And finish the front of the wardrobe. Now to put it in perspective, I've got to draw the side of my wardrobe leading back to my vanishing point again. So if I line up this edge with the vanishing point, I can draw a little line to the back wall where I want the wardrobe to sit. And again with the top. Now if I join these 2 lines, that creates a 3D effect to the wardrobe. So I'm now going to do the wardrobe on the other side, which is exact opposite what we've just done. That gives me 2 3D wardrobes going straight to my vanishing point. Now to draw the bed at the front of the room is exactly the same. Draw the front of the bed parallel with the front wall. I'm joining this side with my vanishing point to create the tent. And again on the other side. And join these 2 lines. This gives me a 3D bed at the front of the room, 3D wardrobes at the back of the room. Now it doesn't always have to be a 3D room. A lot of designers use what's called a plan, which is a bird's eye view, as if you're flying over and looking at the room from above. So we're going to draw what we can see, which is the square of the floor. So my door was on this side. Now to do that, I'm just going to draw a little box which shows where my door is from above, so you can just see the frame. And it opens this way. Now I need to draw the wardrobes, and I'm seeing them from above, so I'm only drawing the top. So if I draw a rectangle here, so all I can see here is the top of the wardrobe. And then on the other side the same. Now I had a bed at the front of the room, so this will be over here. So I'm going to draw the bed from above. So again, it was a little bit away from the wall. So that's the floor plan and the 3D room, and you can use whichever suits you best.
A great design and craft skill to have is sewing. You can sew by hand or machine, and once you've mastered it, there are endless possibilities, from creating something simple like a present for a friend, or designing and making your own clothes. Now if you haven't sewn before, it's best to start by hand, and you'll need some needles, some material to sew, and some thread. And what people like to do is match the colour of the thread with the material, which creates what we call an invisible stitch, and that basically means that you can't see the join. Now I've made my own mobile phone holder here. If I pop the phone out, you can see inside that the colour of the thread matches the material, so you can't see any join. But there's also what we call a feature stitch, and that's where you use a contrasting colour thread to your material. So I've used blue material here, and I've got a bright red thread, and I've just sewn that all the way around, and it just creates a really nice design touch. Now these are really simple to make, and it doesn't just have to be for your mobile phone. You could use it for your MP3 player, or even just a pocket to keep your loose change in. Now to make one of these, all you need is some material, choose any colour you like, some needles, different coloured threads, a marker pen, scissors and a ruler. So the first thing you need to do is grab your material. I've got some red felt here, and I'm going to measure it against my phone. So I just place my phone in the middle and then wrap the material over it. It's almost like you're wrapping a present. And then grab your ruler and your pen, and about a finger space away, just mark a nice straight line. One on that side and one on this side. Once you've drawn your lines in, you can take your mobile phone out, and then all you need to do is cut either side of these lines about a finger away. And the same on the other side. Brilliant. So now it's time to thread my needle. As I've got the red material, I'm going to match it up with some red thread, and that's going to create that invisible stitch. So I'll just thread my needle. It's always good to make sure that you've got plenty of thread, more than you think you'll need, as that way you won't run out halfway through sewing. To make sure that the thread doesn't go straight through the fabric, you need to make sure that you tie a knot right at the end. It's really simple, just make sure it's nice and wet at the end, wind it round your finger, and then just squeeze it so all the thread sticks together and pull it taut. And there you have a knot. Next, you need to sew all the way up the line that you drew earlier. So you need to push your needle through the back of the material and then pull the thread all the way along until you feel a tug. And then if you look on the other side, you can see that the knot is securely at the back. And then you're just going to follow the line all the way along with your stitches, going in through the material and then back down along the line. Once you get to the end of your material, just double over your stitches, and then this means that the thread won't fray and your material will stay nice and secure. And now you just need to do the exact same thing on the other side. So once you've got all your stitches along the line, you can turn it inside out, which will end up being the right way round. Just push it all the way through, right into the corners, just like that. And then you can try your mobile phone in it for size. There we go. Yep, it fits quite nicely. So that's the invisible stitch, but to give my cover a bit more detail, I'm going to add a feature stitch. So for that, I'm going to choose a contrasting colour of thread, which will really stand out against the red material. Again, I'm just going to thread my needle, and on the top half of the material, I'm just going to sew all the way along. As this is a feature stitch, you don't want to see the knot on either side of the material, so a quick little tip is to put your needle inside the cover and then bring it through, and as you can see, the knot is sitting inside. And then, like before, you're just going to follow all the way around. Now when you're doing your feature stitch, it's important to try and keep in a nice straight line, as you haven't got those guidelines that you drew with a pen before. And again, I'm just doing a double stitch to secure the thread to the material. And this is just on the inside of the cover so that you can't see it. And once you've done that, you just need to cut your thread. Brilliant. And there you go, you've got a neat little mobile phone cover with an invisible stitch and a feature stitch. And don't worry if your first attempt isn't that great. Just make sure that you persevere with it, because the more practice you get, the better you'll become. And it's great fun experimenting with loads of different material and different threads. So give it a go.
Design is used in almost everything, from the design of a light to the design of the logo on your sports gear. Logos are a key part of the identity of a business.
And as the company becomes more well known, so does their logo. Many logos are based around the name or initials of a company.
But others are more abstract shapes, symbols, or pictures.
These logos don't actually say what the business does or even what it's called, but they look good and are easily identifiable.
All successful logos are distinctive and memorable, and designing a logo for yourself can be relatively easy. I'm using a basic word processing document, and by using some colour and shapes, I can quickly put together a logo. Firstly, I'm picking a shape, so I'm going to go for a circle. Then I'm going to choose a bright colour for the background. And then I'm going to type in my initials. Line it all up, and there you go. But you don't even need a computer. You can use coloured pens and paper, like Alex.
Alex is a budding entrepreneur who wants some help designing a logo for his business. The first task is to come up with a company name, and he's thought of one that's right up his street.
It's going to be the second name of the road that I was brought up in, and it's called Groves. So the streets are named something Grove. So that's where I was brought up, so that's got a lot to do with the title.
Alex has chosen a great design method to make his name stand out.
I want it to be like bold, 3D, if you get what I mean, so 3D.
Okay, cool. Do you want to draw that?
Three-dimensional lettering not only helps a word stand out, but it can look great too. Write out the word in capitals or lowercase. Alex has chosen capitals.
Cool. I think it looks really... So we're making it 3D like it's really blocky.
Yeah.
Then make the letters blocky by drawing a line inside. Then another line following the shape of the letter to the side. Just imagine you're drawing the letter's shadow.
Off centre, like, so it's just behind it to the right and up, like this, so it's like this.
Adding colour can help give it the three-dimensional look.
Do you think like a really modern green, or is it like a really old-fashioned kind of?
I did want the thing to be like a light green with the yellow, like all mixed in, like light colours, and then.
I think that looks really good.
And then maybe an orange and a red, and then the red going round because that's a darker colour, isn't it, out of the two? And then the orange again, and then start just pattern.
So it would be green, orange, green, orange, green, orange. So are you happy with this, or is there anything you want to add?
I would like to add a computer, and then maybe that into 3D.
3D as well, cool. So does it have to be real, or can it be like a line drawing?
I wouldn't actually like it to be real. I'd like it to be 3D, but like a cartoon.
Again, Alex is showing great designer know-how. Logos should be simple but effective, and drawing an object with just an outline makes it straightforward and clear.
I think this logo is going to look fab in your office.
A print company have converted Alex's logo into lettering so that we can stick it onto the front of Alex's desk. His logo can be used on stationery, badges, or even a t-shirt.
Now, design comes in all shapes and sizes, like designing a big room to designing a small fridge magnet. And fridge magnets are really, really fun to make. You can make a big one, like this, or you can make them really small, like this one. And if you've got lots of different words, you can even make up your own sentences. So when I was helping to design a room for Jaya, who loves writing, I thought magnetic words would be perfect to add a bit of fun and creativity to her room. Give me two of your favourite words then.
Funfair and park.
Funfair and park. OK, which one should I do? Which one should you do?
I'll do funfair and you can do the park.
OK. Right, what colours are you going to use then?
I might use some red and maybe some gold.
I might go for just a basic green and then funk it up with some glitter afterwards. So why do you like these two words so much?
You can find quite a lot of stories and inspiration from these kind of places.
You can even cut out letters from newspapers or magazines to make up your words. Are you happy with that?
Definitely.
Cool. Should we cut them out now then?
OK.
Remember, when cutting out your card, it'll need to be big enough to cover your magnet. So all we have to do now is stick the magnets on the back. You can get rolls of adhesive magnetic strips from most craft shops. Let's take a look. Oh, they look great. Come on, let's go and try them out.
OK.
Oh, they look great, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
But why stop at the fridge? We've painted a wall in Jaya's room with magnetic paint so she can have a paragraph of word magnets.